That sounds like LA music to me.
It is. Okay. We are live, and we are back with Bob Mocarsky in Hong Kong. Hey, Bob.
Hey. Hi.
You know, it's like we didn't have time in between our last conversation.
That's right.
You know, go ahead.
Oh, I think you're wearing the same clothes too. Right?
Well, you know, I might be. I've only done laundry once in 8 weeks, and I kind of wear the same clothes. I wear house slippers a lot. I'm not wearing any pants. Oh, so the first time we did this, we talked about music and all that stuff and how things were there and how things were here. Before we talk about your photos, and that the whole reason we're doing this is because I didn't realize you were this great photographer, and I want to ask you about your photographs. But you said something that I just want to let everybody know, that you are opening up there in Hong Kong a little bit, and people are still wearing masks, but you've had no infections in, what'd you say, 3 weeks?
3 weeks.
And no deaths, or just only a few?
There have been 4 total deaths.
And
for the whole so far.
And so you're opening back up, and things are going relatively smooth. And over here, it's bonkers. We're just going bonkers. So I think from that point of view, I kind of really want to be there.
Well, yeah. Although, musicians, we're still not allowed to work.
Right.
Music and dancing, that brings people together, and that's the devil's work, and can't have that just yet.
Yeah. Well, maybe we can sell some of your photographs.
Maybe.
Well, here's the thing is, and we talked about this after we went off the air. We started talking about your photographs, and I was thinking, these are really great. And I convinced you, or you were probably maybe even thinking about it, but I thought it was a good idea because the photographs are so good that if there was somebody that had some money, that actually they do collect these things, they do like buying photos from original photographers, that we should show some of those. And there's probably
my feeling about what I do is, I'm just kind of getting up to speed where I consider myself pretty legitimately pretty good photographer right now. And I've never approached it as a profession. I've never wanted someone to tell me, photograph this wedding, or I like unposed things. I take pictures of life as I see it. So I haven't really approached it as a business, although maybe I could now. Because I have a pretty good sized portfolio, and I think it's up to the quality that I could present it just about now.
Well, I personally, I think they're great for photographs. What you do is really, I want to ask you how you did them. And what I also learned is a lot of people can take pictures of the same thing, but it's almost like playing music. There's a certain gift that some people have in how they see things and take that picture. And that just makes it more of a quality photo. It's just how you see it. And from my point of view, your composition on your photos I'm like, holy shit. So let's just start with this first one that we were talking about. Now, when I posted that I was going to have you back on with your photographs, I put up 3, and we're going to go down the list. And this first one, by the way, I have bobmophotos.com up in case somebody wants to go to your website. But
right. Also, probably the quickest way is my Instagram.
Oh. It,
I've finally got that up, and I've got a lot of my photos on Instagram. So you
oh,
could just look
okay.
up Bob Mocarsky on Instagram.
Okay. Well, and so Bob Mocarsky on Instagram, we'll remind people of that as we go. But so this first photo I put up is the one that we were talking about with that's on the top of those three photos. And where is that photo taken?
Well, three guesses. Where does that look like? It could be to you.
You know, it looks like a village in France to me.
Mhm.
I mean, just from looking, I'm like, oh, it could be France. It could be. It looks European.
Okay. Well, those pictures are actually Hanoi, Vietnam.
Really? Well,
Yeah.
so how did you photograph this picture? Because to me, it looks like there's a filter or something on it that makes it look like it's a painting.
Okay. I would say first of all, there's three steps to photography. First of all, it's what you see, what you picture in your mind, what you want to present.
Okay.
The second step is your facility with the camera, your ability of how you're able to capture it in the instrument. Basic, and the third thing is post production. What you do in we used to call it developing, but now it's Photoshop or Lightroom.
Mm-hmm.
So those three things, you have an image in your mind of what you eventually want to get to. Hopefully, you have enough skill to get it in the camera, and then you take it home and you work on it for 30 minutes or 60 minutes and shine it up and balance the colors and take out what you don't want and crop it and things like that. And
Mm-hmm.
hopefully you get the image that you had in your mind in the first place.
So you took the picture and the composition of the picture is brilliant because your eye moves around it. It looks great. And then, uh, and what kind of camera are you using a digital camera?
Yeah, I'll show you one of my cameras. And this actually was really responsible for getting me into photography a lot. It's a mirrorless camera, and
Okay.
this is Fujifilm.
Mm-hmm.
And I just love my camera. I pick it up and it's like a fine musical instrument. And the mirrorless cameras, they just started coming out about 5 years ago or so, mostly.
What does that
And
mean?
it's made cameras smaller and more fun to use.
So, explain what a mirrorless camera is.
Uh, for years and years and years, photographers have always used what's called an SLR, single lens reflex.
Mm-hmm.
And that means that the light comes through the top and it bounces off a mirror and comes down to the sensor and to your eye.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they finally figured out with digital technology how to eliminate the mirror so that what you see coming through the camera is what's going to be your final image. And
Oh,
it made the camera smaller and less delicate uh, because you don't have this mirror that's swinging around in there. So
okay.
you can make it more compact and more solid.
All right. Okay. So you're using that camera. You take this picture. Did you use any kind of special lens or filter on the lens?
Not really. I think I used a panorama mode for that. That's why it's a very wide shot. Of course,
Right.
anybody can do that with your iPhone or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You can do panorama shots. And that's what I saw from up there. I guess I was in a restaurant on about the sixth floor that gave me a view over the city and the lake.
And that's Hanoi.
Yeah.
And then the last thing about this picture, then did you do some Photoshop work on it because it really does almost look like a watercolor painting or something.
I had to do because a camera doesn't see as well as our eyes. A
Mm-hmm.
camera captures things very dispassionately. It doesn't capture our emotion. It just collects light.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I have to say, okay, maybe on this side the greens didn't come out enough, and on this side the lights were too glaring and stuff. So I have to tone things up and down and balance the colors. As they say, you don't take a picture, you don't take a photograph, you make a photograph.
Hmm. Well, so you spent a bit of time then on this.
I might have spent an hour on that picture.
Man, but see, I like it. See, if I would walk into, okay, I'm not a fine art guy, but I go into some of these stores like Pottery Barn or Z Gallery when I need pictures, and I see something like this, I would buy it right away because I like how it looks. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so now let's go. I want to go on to the next one. Then the next one is Hanoi as well, but it's at night with the lake. Is that from the same spot?
It's pretty much the same vantage point. Yeah.
And what do you do to get the light? Is this more work that you have to do in like Photoshop or something, or the post to make the lights and
Um,
everything look like this?
well, night photography is a whole other challenge, and it takes a lot more work. And basically, because you need more time for the light to come in the lens, so you can't always handhold camera. You have to put it on a tripod or on a railing or something, and you have to know the right amount of light to let in so that it comes out right. And I'm fascinated by night photography. That's one of my favorite things. Probably because I love the nighttime. I'm a musician. I'm a vampire,
Right.
and I like to get those images. That's one of the things that's really fascinating to me.
And
Um,
so when you first started, how many did it take you a while to learn the different techniques and everything to get the images to the way you wanted them?
I would say there's not that much technique involved, but it takes a long time to do it well.
Mm,
Um, it's not as hard as playing the piano, for instance. I mean, you have to learn the amount of light to bring in, the aperture, the time, the ISO, things like that. So it's not a whole lot of technical stuff to learn, but you know, it takes taking a lot of pictures
yeah.
until you get really good, like anything else.
I was a little bit of an amateur photographer in the early 80s, late 70s, and I bought a camera at that time. That the Canon AE1 was the first sort of automatic camera, and it was expensive because we were shooting real film then, and I wasn't able to develop it because it cost too much money. Now, once you get the a camera and it's digital, I doesn't it give you a lot more chance to experiment without the cost of developing film and all that sort of thing?
Absolutely. Camera technology now is where synthesizer technology was in the 80s and 90s. In the
Mm-hmm.
80s and 90s, all of a sudden, you have digital samples. You can buy an orchestra,
Right.
and you can manipulate it,
Right.
um, or at least a facsimile of it. And with with sequencers and signal processing and everything, you can simulate an orchestra. For some reason, music and sound got that ability about 30 years before cameras. So now with digital, wow, take a million shots a day, no cost, bring it home, make it look like however you want. It's a fantastic advantage. Some people would say, film is really the thing, but
Yeah.
very few people are using film. It's a real specialty niche item now.
Right. Because you have to also learn how to develop the film and get the chemicals and all of that sort of thing and make prints and
Yeah,
in order to do the same thing you do here.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, so
Um,
go
okay,
ahead.
I wanted to address one thing that you said earlier. Why
Hmm.
is it that some people take a photo of the same thing, and somebody who has a little bit of skill, it comes out a lot differently and a lot
Hmm.
better? And there are certain things you can use. I'm going to show you one picture here.
Okay.
I think you saw. It's
Yeah, I had
this
that
one.
loaded in too. Yeah,
Okay, boy, there's a lot of reflection off of that.
there is. So let me see if I can find that. I think I uploaded that. Oh, I don't have it,
Okay.
but I
Anyway,
Yeah, I have.
I've made it so that that picture has something special. It has a dynamic quality that most people are not going to get in a snapshot. And exactly in a nutshell, to do that, I put my camera down on the sidewalk to get this angle looking up. It
Mm,
is just it makes the whole thing look so imposing. It gives it an attitude. It gives it an energy that if you just hold your camera up and take a picture of it, you're not going to get that effect.
mm,
So these are the kind of tricks that you learn. And also, it's a time exposure. I had to expose that for about 2 seconds,
mm.
and most people really don't have that basic skill in photography, in photographing.
Yeah, that takes, from what I can tell, it takes a lot of work, in learning, a lot of practice in learning how to let the right amount of light in, and all that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
Okay, so the next photo though was this in Hanoi too, with the one we were talking about, the little bistro or cafe?
Actually, that's kind of just right around the corner from where I live in
Oh,
Hong Kong.
okay. So
Um,
this looks like a chalk drawing or something. I mean, it doesn't look like a photograph, especially because of the people in the background, which, if you look at it long enough, you can tell it's painted on the wall. So,
mhm.
the composition is great, but what did you do to make this? Again, it looks like a painting of sorts.
First of all, it's waiting for the right moment. I can't see the picture there exactly, but I think there's somebody down in the front of it who's eating, and just the way the people are positioned is kind of right.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and what it is they made paintings on the back wall that are pretty darn good paintings. They're so good that if you look at it and the people eating out in front of it, you can't really tell which is which.
Well, exactly.
And then of course, this was at night also, so I had to balance it out so that I would limit the amount of glare and bring up the shadows, that type of thing, and that kind of can give a painted kind of look.
Man, well, I love that picture. That also, what it makes me think of is that one picture that is in all of the inexpensive, art galleries, that has it's like the diner picture that everybody has, and they've put in like James Dean or somebody sitting at the counter. You, this
Yeah,
reminds me of one of those kinds of photos.
yeah. Of course, Asia is just chock full of those kind of places, where
Oh,
people are just eating out on the street and are just very natural, and people have been cooking the same dishes in that exact diner for the last 20 years, and
sure.
and it's pretty easy to get some nice pictures that way.
Okay, so now you can't really see what I'm showing, but I love those three photos that we just talked about. I love those photos. I mean,
Well, thank you.
I really do. Now, I have some of your night photos here, and I'm hoping that I'm pulling one up, and there's a park, and it's a cityscape, and it's a nighttime photo. I either pulled this off of your night photos or your city. And I know you can't necessarily see unless, do you have a way to pull up my Facebook page while we're talking?
Maybe I could do that.
It,
I will try.
you see, there may be a bit of a delay, but if you can see it, I mean, it's showing on my Facebook page now, and that adds a nice light to your face when you turn your phone on.
I knew these computers were good for something.
Right?
Okay, I've got your page up here. Um, Tell you what, before you continue on to that, I want to stay on those pictures from North
Okay.
Vietnam. And
Okay.
every picture tells a story.
Yeah.
I mean, eventually, that's the end purpose of taking pictures is you want to communicate something to people. So I
Right.
want to continue a little more with that story.
Okay. Yes.
Uh, that lake in Hanoi, Vietnam, is the center of the city, and it has been for 1,000 years. And every night of the week, people come out in droves. There's kids playing, there's old people tango dancing. Uh, it's the most peaceful place you've ever seen in your life. And the North Vietnamese, the people are just so sweet and so gentle. We almost can't imagine a scene like that in the United States. It's 100% safe. You will not even see a policeman. And of course, this is kind of true around Asia too. You'll go to these places that are completely crowded and have licentious things going on, and nobody cares. There's no policeman.
Mm.
It's amazing. So we'll go a little bit further into this communist country. This is down on the street.
Hold it up a little bit. Yeah, right like that. Yeah, right there. Yeah, right
There.
like that. Yeah. You know, I might
Okay.
yeah, let me look through my pictures and
If you go down to street level, this is what you see.
oh man. And that's you were standing up for the photo and now you went down of the photo of the
Now
lake.
on
Now you're
street level.
down. Okay.
Yeah,
Highlands Coffee.
yeah. And you can see all the people having
Yeah.
a fantastic time and all of that. And of course, we've been taught that Vietnam it's a communist country, and communism means people are oppressed and stuff like that.
Right.
Um, you can go to these countries and you go oppression. Well, we sort of have our own forms of repression in our own country,
Mm-hmm.
in our own way,
Right.
and it's kind of mind-boggling when you go and see what these people live under a different political system than us, and guess what? They can still smile and have a good time and are feeling free.
Mm.
So, continuing a little more down the street,
Oh man.
I'm just walking among these people.
Yeah.
I'm blown away by how gentle they are and how coherent the society is.
Yeah. And this is Vietnam where, you know,
This
we
is
have
this
this
is North
perception.
Vietnam.
Right.
This
And
is Hanoi, the country that we were just involved with
right.
a couple of decades ago.
And we were taught to hate these people. I grew up thinking that we needed to hate these people.
Right. Um, and one more.
Okay.
You look at these people.
Yeah.
Um, they were not afraid of me at all. They were very nice to me, very welcoming.
And that's the lake in the background.
That's the lake in the background.
Okay.
And what you realize when you're in a country like this, or in China, you encounter the people, and they're really just like we are. There's all kinds of contradictions among the peoples. We're taught that China is one thing, or the United States is one thing. They're all full of all kinds of variety and contradictions, and
Mm.
people are pretty much the same everywhere. So
Mm.
this is one of the end goals of photography, is to be able to communicate some meaning of what you see in the world.
You know, you're gonna have a new line of work, and it's called photojournalism.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. If I wanted to pursue a profession, if
Right.
I did that, then I'd have two broken professions right now. And I'd be dealing with not only music agents but photography agents, and
Oh.
dealing with two careers that are very similar and have the same kind of similar problems. I don't know if I want to do that. I'm keeping my photography just for my enjoyment and expression.
Right. So I actually had that one photo you just showed. I had that one uploaded. So I'm showing that. Um, so I want to try to pick other photos. I'm going to pull some up and they're night photos, and hopefully you can tell me where they're from. Okay.
Okay.
Um,
Let's see. I have your page up here. Is there
yeah. So
any way that I can see from that?
yeah. So if you can find my live stream, do you see my live stream there? Might have.
Um,
You might have to
I know it
refresh.
just looks like I'm not sure how to do this. I just have your Facebook page with your postings on it,
Yeah, and
the photos.
so the live stream should be just right in my timeline. No luck.
No luck.
Oh man, it well, it should be there. I'll try to describe these
Okay.
best I can. Um, I pulled up a nighttime picture as a city in the background, and um, uh, I don't really know how to describe it other than it looks like there's a park. It almost looks like I'm looking at New York City in Central Park, and it's a nighttime with streets and the lights are streaming down the sides.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a great photo. I'm not sure where I pulled it up from though. So it's oh, you know what? I think this photo. There's a photo here I have of a bus, and this might be it. This might be in well, based on your one photo. You've got a series of photos that are like cars passing by, right, at really fast. And this one is a pink and purple bus. It's going by really fast. So it's almost like stopped and everything else is speeding by it.
Mm-hmm. That's probably in Bangkok. It sounds like.
Mm-hmm. So um, if you go to try going to my page and just refresh it once, just refresh the page once and see if that live stream will show up. Unless the time delay is 13 hours, tomorrow it'll show up 13 hours later. What is it?
With my luck on computers, yeah.
What is the time difference? Is it 12 hours?
Actually, it's 15
Oh,
hours.
15.
Yeah, Hong Kong is exactly 12 hours from New York City, polar opposite. So
Mm,
then add on another 3 hours to the West Coast.
okay.
How do I get your live stream on here? I just don't know.
Well, yeah, my live stream should just show up right at the top of my page because it's the only thing I'm doing right now.
I see your picture with the clouds
It should be right below that.
in
If
the
you
green room with Bob Mocarsky.
That is it.
Okay, press the forward arrow.
And you can watch it and then just turn the sound down.
Okay. Okay, I see it. Okay, that
Woohoo!
bus.
Yay.
That bus is in. That's in the Philippines.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
A city in the Philippines. Uh, it's interesting. So many of those buses you see come by filled with all of these people. They love. There's usually pictures of Jesus all over these things. They're devoutly Catholic there
Uh-huh. In Philippines.
in the Philippines.
Yeah. And so from that, I think these other two pictures are the Philippines as well. Then there's these three kids having fun,
Right.
and there's a little bit of a delay.
Yeah, I'm still seeing this circle going around on the bus.
Oh, it's slow. It's moving slow. The internet is going slow.
Yeah.
But it's still better than the modems. Remember when computers first came out and you heard like, and then
Oh yeah.
a photo would load up like 5 minutes later, you'd see, oh my God, there's the photo.
Yeah.
Anyway, so is it there now yet?
No, I still have
Okay.
the bus. I
Oh,
still have the
okay.
bus.
Then I'm going to go.
If you took it from that page, then that's probably still in the Philippines.
Right. And then there's the top of that page, and I do remember this. It was on that page is there's two girls dressed out in they almost look like Egyptian costumes.
Right.
And what
There
was that?
a parade in the Philippines that day. It was the biggest damn parade I've ever seen in my life. It was like their equivalent of Mardi Gras.
Mm.
And we went out in that to visit people, and we couldn't move through this parade. There were literally 1 million people. And there was a group of four of us. We were there for a gig, and two of us had our wallets stolen.
Oh,
They had expert pickpockets there. And on the way back, we got together, a gang of us. We said, okay, we have to go back across through this whole thing. Make sure you really take care of your wallets and put them in your pockets. And there's a group of 8 of us. And still, 2 more people got their pockets picked. It was
oh
incredible.
man.
I mean, they
Oh,
just they just zeroed in on us. They said, wow, these people, they don't know what's going on. So the 4 of us got our pockets picked on that day.
that's funny. Okay, so um, I'm going to pick a couple that I can probably easily describe to you because I love them. They're artsy pictures, and I'm not sure where they come from. A this one is it's a circle, like a circle opening into a building, and there's a child standing, a boy on one side and a girl on the other, and you look in, and it's like an art studio.
Okay, that is in China. That's in the city of Shenzhen.
I
And there's one part of the town. Shenzhen is basically the Silicon Valley of China,
mm,
but it's a huge city. And over in the old town part, there's an area, oh, maybe 50 blocks or something, that is nothing but oil painting going on.
mm.
And these kids were running around through it, and
Boy on one side and the girl on the other, and you look in, and it's like an art studio. Oh,
okay, I can turn that sound down.
that's funny. So it finally unfroze.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah, that's the oil painting village, and they supply paintings for most of the hotels in the world. And people send in their orders. They say, we want you to copy a Van Gogh painting, and they'll make an order. And there's thousands of oil painters working there, and they send their photos out around the world. And that's where this picture was from. And these kids were just running around, and they posed for me. And that was that.
And you got them to stand there.
Actually, they were just playing, just by themselves.
Okay.
And I think I probably took a dozen shots or so, and that was the best one.
Okay.
And I think they would have been doing whatever they're doing, whether I was there or not.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that photo though. And then the other one that I sort of singled out, which I thought was really cool, is this one of the eye, and it's going up some stairs.
Okay, that's in my neighborhood in Hong Kong.
Okay.
Uh, there's so many little back alleys and stuff that you can explore, and uh, somebody did a painting on the wall there.
I love that photo. And then there's the other one that I thought is I love this, and it made me think of the Indiana Jones and Temple of Doom movie. And was this the lady? She has cards, and she's like walking into a booth, and she's one hand is pushing back the beaded curtain, and she's got some cards.
Mm-hmm.
I love that photo.
That was in Bangkok, and that was in a club. I had a gig there. We had a 5-piece jazz gig for a while, and the name of the club was Maggie Chu's, and it was all based on a Chinese theme of Shanghai in the 1930s,
Oh,
which
so
was a time when there was all kinds of jazz and corruption and fun in Shanghai, and they had that the authentic clothing. Yeah, she's wearing what's called a qipao, the authentic Chinese dress,
mm-hmm.
and she was up above the bar in a cage, dealing out these cards. And
Well,
I was lucky enough to get a shot over.
I love that shot. I mean,
Yeah.
the lighting and everything is perfect. It almost looks like there's light reflecting off of the cards.
Well, it probably is. And, if you take enough pictures and you're dedicated enough, sometimes you're just rewarded with luck.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times you'll want to take a picture and the lighting isn't right and it just doesn't come off.
Right.
And then other times you see something, and if you're ready and you grab it, you've got a great picture.
Right. Okay. So I'm going to move on to, and this is one of your nighttime scenes. and it's a picture of downtown. And this is the thing that's always fascinated me, and I know it has something to do with time exposure and everything, but all of the cars lights are just blurred because they're going really fast.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got a sort of a series of these photos, and I've kind of put a couple of them up here. And what do you do to take those kinds of pictures and make those happen?
Well, basically, you have to leave the shutter open for a number of seconds. It could be a half second, or it could be a minute, or it could be longer.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the more movement there is over more time, the more blur you're going to get. Uh, yeah, I have a picture I can show you right here.
Okay.
There. Okay.
Oh yeah, yeah. Okay. And so,
Okay. So here I've got just the tail lights and the fore lights of the car.
mm-hmm.
Now the cars are going by pretty fast, so you don't see them. But the lights are very bright, so they leave an impression on the camera sensor.
Yeah.
Now for this picture, I had to I balanced the camera on the railing of a bridge that I was on, and kept the shutter open for I think it was about 2 minutes, so
Whoa.
that I could get the light trails going through.
Two
Yeah,
minutes.
that's yeah.
So you can't,
So
when you do something like that, you can't move the camera because that'll mess the shot up.
that's why you use a tripod.
Man.
Now I'm really lazy. I never bring a tripod with me. I look for anything I can find to to uh, to set a camera on a railing, jam it against a telephone pole, on the ground, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
so that the camera doesn't move, and then you can capture movement.
Um, I want to ask. This is another nighttime photo, and it's in a park, and a young boy and girl are boyfriend girlfriend are underneath a lamppost, and it's in front of a lake. I don't know if your how's your stream coming up, or any of my stuff showing up on my Facebook page yet?
Yeah, I'm watching myself talk here.
Oh, there's a delay, but
It
anyway,
looks like I'm just moving all over the place. I think I'm keeping still, but for some reason the picture is I'm moving all over. Okay, now this is back to the lake in Hanoi, Vietnam.
okay, so, and just from another area.
Yeah, you walk around this lake, any night of the week, and you just see all kinds of life going by. You know, a couple hundred meters down the lake from there, they've got some speakers blasting out tango music, and old people are dancing tango.
Wow.
And then you go a little further, and you've got 4-year-old kids playing on these little motorized skateboards with
Mm.
lights going on and stuff. Um, it's just amazing.
So, you know what I just realized is, as I downloaded these pictures, I needed to keep them, if there was a way I could have grouped them together so we could stay in Hanoi and then stay in, Bangkok or wherever they are. Uh, but I wasn't that clever. I just wanted to get them all I could. So I apologize for not keeping your theme, because on your website, you have that theme where it's Hanoi and, nighttime photos and all that sort of thing. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so then this is the picture I'm pulling up now is a Buddha sitting in front of a pond and a little fountain. It looks like, I don't know if it's not necessarily Buddha, but it's what do you call that statue?
Um, if it's the one that I'm thinking of, that was in Bangkok, and that was
Okay,
at the Grand Palace, which is the center of, well, it's like the Vatican City, I guess you would say, of Thai Buddhism,
okay.
the center of the culture. Um, yeah, that one.
So is it up now?
Yes, yeah, it is. I don't think that's exactly a Buddha. That's someone in a meditative pose.
Yeah,
Uh,
but those. those statues are fairly common, though, right? I mean,
Yeah.
so I'm not sure what it's called, or if there's a name for that particular person or that pose, or I'm not that learned of that culture. So I know I'm kind of jumping now. The next picture is another downtown. It's a big white building, and in like 7 or 8 seconds, it'll show up in front of you, I'm guessing.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm hoping that it's in this proximity of where the statue was. Because I wasn't smart enough to put them all in any kind of order that would make this be really thought out. So is it there now?
No, we still have
Oh,
the other
this
picture.
the Buddha picture. Okay. Um, so on that Buddha picture, that was a night picture again, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm kind of staying on your night pictures. You got a lot of night pictures.
Yeah. I'd say that's my specialty.
Yeah.
And it probably comes from being a musician and having
Right.
nightlife.
Okay.
I remember the times in San Francisco back in the old days. North Beach would go all night,
Right.
and musicians would have gigs, and we'd go down to the Great Eastern Restaurant and eat until 4 o'clock in the morning, and people would hang out. And over the years, by the '90s, that was all gone.
Mm.
And I remember walking down Broadway at 10:30 at night sometimes, and feeling like, wow, I'm going to see tumbleweeds blowing down the street. It looks so bleak. Um, then when I came to Asia about 2000, I went to all these cities, Shanghai and Bangkok and Taipei and Tokyo, and it's like Blade Runner all night long.
Oh.
People are on the streets. There's life going on. And I said, man, this is where I want to be.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I can
I
see that.
love it.
Yeah. Has that
And
pic?
I think that resonates with the jazz life.
Yeah, a little bit, huh? And especially
Right.
that bar you were in that was of the 30s.
Yeah, Maggie Chu's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So has that picture shown up on your screen yet? You can see what it is?
Yeah, yeah. That's an interesting story there. To the right side of it, you see a couple of streams. I don't know what to say. It's the dark side there.
Mm-hmm.
This elevated cement things on the right, the extreme right of the picture.
Right.
Uh, those are tracks of the SkyTrain. We have
Mm.
SkyTrains running all around Bangkok. They're fantastic.
And did those run all
And
night?
yeah, they do run at night.
Yeah.
Yeah. That temple itself is it's right in front of the Hyatt Regency Hotel. That's what the white structure is. That's the Hyatt Regency,
Oh,
the
okay.
Hyatt Erawan, and that's the Erawan Shrine, which is it's Hindu and Buddhist and everything. Anybody goes there. It's just an all-purpose place where people come and take some time out. It's an extremely famous temple in Bangkok, right in the center of things.
Mm.
And about 2 years ago, there was a terrorist bombing there. 23 people were killed. A huge bomb went off. And 2 days later, they had Buddhist priests marching down like hundreds of them, marching down the boulevard and all around it. They completely repaired the place like new, like nothing had ever happened. And people were swarming back there. Uh, they just cleansed the place basically overnight. And nobody thinks about danger and going there anymore. That was
Is done.
I don't know how to describe it. It was an amazing thing.
Wow.
Basically, terrorism is not something that happens in Bangkok. I mean, it's a very very peaceful city, and this was a one-off thing. Some terrorists from Uzbekistan or someplace like that had an issue with the government, and they blew up a bomb. So it's not a regular thing. It was just one unfortunate thing. But they took care of it. They cleaned it out, and everything went on. Life just went on practically the next day.
Okay, so I'm going to pull up a couple more pictures, and we're just moving a little slow because it takes a minute for you to see what it is I'm bringing up. But this is another. It's another nighttime city scene. It may even be in the same general area. I'm not sure, but I love that. I basically pulled out all of the pictures that I really loved just right off the bat. But this almost looks like there's a merry-go-round or something in the middle of it. And it's just a great shot. The lighting, I like the lighting and everything about it. And it almost looks like there's neon lights, blue, and the way the blues and the golds are shining. It feels like it's, there's, and I know it's not really neon lights, but it just feels that way. So is it showing up there yet?
Still not there.
Oh, oh man. And the other thing I should have done is labeled them. Just like, okay, well, this is what they are.
Live and learn.
Yeah, right.
Okay. Well, now this is exactly the same place. This is just another view.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, so you're just looking at a different spot, but do you see what I'm saying? How the blue lights along the one side, or the whatever the blue is reflecting, it almost gives it a neon light feel.
Right. I'm not sure where that light comes from. I'm taking that picture from a platform of the SkyTrain.
Mm-hmm.
The SkyTrain is the equivalent of a subway in other cities, except it's 60 feet off the ground in Bangkok. And I think that blue light is reflecting from the station, pretty much.
But it looks cool. It just adds this little glow to the light, and a lot of it had to do with maybe your exposure or settings and everything as well.
Mm-hmm. You'll notice in the foreground, the people are kind of blurred.
Mm-hmm.
On the left side.
Mm-hmm.
It's because it was nighttime, and so you have to take a longer exposure. Maybe that was a quarter of a second or something. So people's motions are blurred like that. But that also gives a little motion to the photograph rather than everything being perfectly clear. So that can be an intentional effect in photography.
Right. Now I've got a couple of buildings I want to ask you about. I know, forgive me, I'm jumping all over. But I'm sticking in the nighttime theme. There's a photo. It's a restaurant diner photo, and it says breakfast, lunch, and dinner diner restaurant, and it's a corner shot. Somebody's walking in front of it.
If I think that's probably New York City.
Oh, really?
That's in the West Village.
See, you know what? I would never know. You could put these pictures and say hey, this is Omaha. No, this would never be in Omaha. but again, I love the shots you take, and whatever you do to get how they look. I'm a giant fan. So you described that one, and now I know this has got to be a palace because this is from one of your buildings shot, and hopefully it'll come up in a few minutes. But I really like that shot too, and it's a nighttime shot, and it's all lit up in yellows and reds. And right now I'm just kind of showing some of the photos of how great the photos are, but I want to get to and then I want to ask you specifically about these photos I'm showing right now, as are your toy cities. Tell me. So I'm showing one of those right now. What is there such a thing as toy cities, or is it something that you do? Because I see this on TV, sometimes they'll make their images look like this.
Hmm. Okay. Now the image I'm seeing right now, it's a theater with the gold tower, sort of.
Oh, right. That was the one I was asking about. Yeah.
Okay, that's the old Paramount Theater in Shanghai,
Oh,
and that goes back to like the 1920s. In the Roaring Twenties, Shanghai was just a rip-roaring scene. They had a jazz scene. They had their mobsters. They had their their all-night incredible scene, and that place was the Paramount Theater. That was one of the central places, and it's an architectural remainder of that time.
but it's a great
And
building, so that's what it's from.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, so
Um,
I shifted back
another,
to it.
okay. The
Okay.
other theme I love in photography, I love architecture. So
Mm,
I do take a lot of pictures of buildings. That's what I do in the daytime.
okay.
Yeah,
The nighttime ones are
yeah.
cool too.
That's the Paramount Theater in Shanghai.
Yeah. Okay, so now I'm going to shift back to the Toy City one.
Right.
And what do you do to get these shots?
Um, that's I do that in post production in Photoshop,
Okay.
and there's a technique you can use where um, you blur the background and make the foreground objects very very sharp. And if you do it just right, it gives a feeling like it's a toy setting, like it's
Yeah.
um, like it's a game board. You'll notice the background is all blurred,
Yeah.
whereas the streetcar is in focus.
Yeah.
So it makes it look like a toy game,
Yeah. So
and I like messing around with that effect a lot.
yeah, you've got a whole section of Toy Cities on your website. And the other thing that I wanted to get at now is the and I put this on your story, on my story, Bob Mocarsky, this picture of this sunset, and I'm pulling that up now. Your scenic, your landscape pictures. I mean, these are amazing. So the one I pulled up now is it's a mountain and is this beautiful orange, red, yellow sunset,
Hmm.
and you'll see it in a minute. So no, there's no tricks to this. You just have a good eye and
Pretty much. I used in the camera itself, you can do certain settings. They'll say, do you want the extreme color mode or do you want the this color mode? And I just made the colors really extreme for that.
mm,
Uh, yeah, real life doesn't quite look like that, but
yeah, there's it doesn't, but I know there's something you got to do to it to get that color, that vivid color. Yeah,
this was a little bit of an accident because a camera doesn't have the dynamic range that our eye has.
right.
So all the mountain in the foreground is completely blacked out, and the sky itself in the sun is kind of blown out as far as the camera can barely process that amount of highs and lows at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of an accident that the colors came out that vivid and the dynamic range is so great.
Man, I love that picture. I wish I could paint that on my neighbor's garage.
I'd forgotten about that one.
That
That's in Hong Kong. Hong
uh,
Kong is it's a lot like San Francisco in a way because it's a city that's all built on mountains with water all around it.
yeah,
And
yeah,
Hong Kong is it's even more extreme because you go into the mountains in Hong Kong and you might kick a cobra snake or something. There's really large amounts of wilderness,
okay.
and you're looking out at the South China Sea here.
Um, all right, so I'm going to interrupt you for a minute. So I've been focused on this, and I'm looking. I just noticed there's 32 comments. People have been commenting, and Elizabeth Evangeliste, she's liking this and wants to know. I don't know if we already did this, but she wants to know what kind of camera you're using. We showed it at the beginning. Maybe she just tuned in. You want to
Mhm.
show her? Is this the camera you showed? Is that what you took the picture with?
Yeah. Um, Now, I don't think it makes a whole lot of difference which camera that you use. Um, it's what you do with it. But I personally, I have a Fujifilm camera, and I
Okay.
love Fujifilm. I think that they have just been leading the way in making a camera that's really fun to use. It really encourages you. I I almost can't wait to have this camera in my hands and just take pictures.
Yeah.
This is my bow and arrow, and I see my target, and this is where I exercise my skill. Um, it could be you could get these same pictures with a Canon or a Nikon or a Sony, but I just happen to like the Fujifilm, the style of it a lot.
Right. Okay. So also a rich, uh, I not want to. I don't want to take a stab at his last name. And I mentioned film and developing. Uh, I I think he may have misunderstood. We were just talking about, do you incorporate both 35 millimeter and digital in the process of development? Um,
Well, it's all digital what I
yeah.
use. I haven't used film at all, and it's not important. It's called APS-C.
Mm,
It's just the size of the sensor, which is smaller than full size, full frame. But again, I don't think it makes a whole lot of difference which camera you use. I
right.
think you can get pretty much the same results.
So for those that are asking questions and watching, I apologize. I'm not always good at interviewing and seeing all the questions. I, you know, I am because I'm focused on making sure I don't look like I haven't prepared. So I'm putting another landscape up, and it is an ocean, and with the same result. It's the blues are vibrant, and there's some cirrus clouds and a layer of pink in between, and I just love the shot. Again, it's a scene, and it might show up there in a second, and I'll try
I got
to.
I got it.
Okay.
Um, this again is in Hong Kong, and a lot of people don't realize Hong Kong has beautiful beaches for swimming. Oh my God! And you can swim for many months of the year. Unlike San Francisco has beautiful ocean, but you can't swim in it.
Mm-hmm.
But I go swimming regularly, and this is my favorite beach. It's on Llama Island. It's just about 30 minutes outside of the middle of Hong Kong. And I think one of the things that made this picture effective, I took this picture with my iPhone actually.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay, so this is proof. This is proof for anybody that's watching. It has all to do with what you see, the image you
that's right.
capture to start. That's the
Yes,
best start composition.
yeah. Um, I think what makes this picture interesting, more interesting than most people would get, is that I'm holding the camera literally inches above the water itself.
Mm,
And that's what gives you the feeling like you're immersed in the water as you're looking at the background.
mm.
Um, most people, all they know about taking pictures is you hold the camera up to your eye at standing level, and that's it.
Right.
But you can do amazing things if you hold a camera up over your head, a couple feet higher, or
Mm-hmm.
if you put the camera on the ground looking up. You can make you can get really exciting dynamic effects just with where you place the camera.
Mm. Okay, so um, I am going to put up a couple more pictures uh, that I just jumped out at me because I want everybody to see the kind of photos you take. Um, and this one that I'm putting up here, again, when some of these pictures, how you take them, make them look to me like they're paintings, right? Like and I've said this several times, they look like oil paintings or like chalk paintings or, a chalk drawing or whatever it is. But this one is some people sitting and eating. And if it shows up there, you'll be able to tell me where it's at. But it's just a great composition, and the colors are vivid and jump out, and it just it it's vibrant, and
Mm-hmm.
that's what captures my. Is it there?
Yep, I got it.
Okay.
Okay, this is again in Hanoi, North Vietnam.
Mm.
Uh, motor scooters are everywhere. Sometimes there'll be three or four people on a motor scooter. I think you can see the one in the middle. There's three people on that one.
Right. Yeah, that's
Uh,
funny.
People are all the street life. The amount of street life is just amazing. I mean, you could see this in any city in Asia. People just having fun with food out in the open air.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the things I just love about Asia. Just life is just so present, um, so everywhere.
So, in case somebody joined us late, I may jump back and scroll through some of the first pictures we showed, um, but I'm going to show where'd it go? I want to show this one because I don't know where you got this picture, but I love this picture. It's a bus sitting in the middle of like a bunch of junk. It's like it's pulling into a garage or something, and
Hmm.
I just for some reason this struck me as what a great shot. The colors are great. The buzz is cool, and it looks like it's like in who knows where it is, but it's like in an alley with all kinds of junk in it.
Hmm.
So maybe it'll pop up there in a minute.
Okay, I know the picture you're talking about,
Oh, okay.
and it's in Hong Kong. And yeah, it's exactly like you described. It's a bus in a garage with a bunch of junk around it.
Wow.
And somehow it makes a really interesting picture.
Wait.
Um,
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking. This is a great shot. Okay. And now,
uh, when I'm walking around, I have my camera ready. Uh, in photography, we talk about something called the decisive moment.
mm-hmm.
When you take the picture, uh, you might walk by something and say, "Wow, what a great picture!" And the next second, it's gone. Oh, I didn't get it. If you
Mm,
have your camera out and ready, when that action is taking place, we call the decisive moment. Then you've made your capture.
right.
I literally feel when I'm walking around with my camera like I'm a hunter. I'm
Mm,
hunting for pictures. And when I see the game, when I see the deer, if I don't pull the arrow at the right moment, I miss. And
mm,
of course, I do miss a lot. But then the ones you see are the ones that I hit. And you have to be ready for the moment.
right. Right. So, I know this is moving rather slow, but it's because me, Jeff, the host, what didn't have everything. So okay, so this is another building, and there's four doors with four people as statues above them, and it looks like it's in your buildings and temples or whatever that page is. But this is the architecture is great, and I'm wondering if when you see it, if this is any kind of temple or church or something. And by the way, somebody says Toby Simmons is watching. She says every picture tells a fabulous story, and by the time you see the picture, yes, you actually have a good story about every picture. So is it there yet?
Yeah, yeah, it
Okay,
is. Okay, this is in Thailand. This is this temple is called the Sanctuary of Truth, and This structure, it's still under construction. It's been under construction for years, and it's made entirely of wood.
What?
Um, all of it is
That's
carved,
all wood?
all wood,
Oh my God.
and it extends for acres like this. And you go inside, and it's like you can't even see the ceiling. It's so high, and it it celebrates all religions, not just one. It's
Hmm.
Hindu and Buddhist and Chinese religions and Taoism and I think there's even some Christianity in it. It's just a monument to all the great religious thought.
Wow.
And this building is actually on the seaside in Thailand. Yeah, it's amazing, and they add on to it more every year.
Really?
Yeah.
So on Seaside, that would be the Indian Ocean?
Well, it's actually the Gulf of Thailand. Um, it wouldn't be the Indian Ocean. It would be closer to the South China Sea.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
I'm not that familiar with all of that over there. I need to go
But
there.
yeah, just to the other side, maybe 100 miles on the other side, you could say it sort of borders the Indian Ocean.
Oh,
There's
okay.
the Andaman Sea on that side. So you're close.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. I'm not a total knucklehead. I'm half a knucklehead. Okay. So I think I may did I show this? Oh, this is another night scene of an open market where people are walking down the middle of the street, and then there's markets on both sides of everything, and people are walking and shopping. It's a night, and this is just again the colors you get from your photos just pop like almost like they're fluorescent. You know what I mean? And if I had any time right now, I'd jump and go right down there and go shopping and get some sushi, hang out, buy a couple of shirts.
Hmm.
So, has it shown up there on your screen yet?
Not quite, not quite.
So it takes a long time to travel from here to Hong Kong,
I guess it has to bounce off the moon a couple of
right? A
times.
couple of times.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and somebody says everything looks vivid, and that's exactly what I'm trying to describe is the photos look vivid. You know, the colors pop and just jump out. The nighttime, especially with the lights and how you get them to look.
Hmm. Okay, this is in Hong Kong.
Okay.
Hong Kong is the densest populated city in the world,
Mm-hmm.
and you can see there's whole areas of just block after block after block that are like that.
Mm.
And this is a famous market. Uh, there's a lot of this in Asia, and if the colors are popping, it's because that's how I see that's how I see, and that's what I want to capture, and that's what I want to communicate.
So after you've taken the shot, because I can walk out and take this picture, and it's not going to look the same. So after you take the picture, and Elizabeth is asking if you use filters, and I think earlier you said you don't use filters, right?
Right, right.
But it's what you do after you've taken the picture and you get it back into your computer, and you uh, in the old school way you call it dodge and burn. You know, if you're developing
Hmm.
a
Yeah.
picture. So what do you do in that process then to get these colors to pop to make them more vivid?
Well, first of all, this is pretty much what you see is what really is there. But you know, you have to in using the camera, you have to make sure you get the exposure right,
Mm,
so that the light doesn't blow it out, and so that
okay.
the shadows aren't completely murky. So that's part of the skill of using the camera is knowing how to get the exposure correct.
So with the
But
digital,
inevitably, you want to make it look like how you want it to look, and that's where Photoshop comes in.
right? Well,
And generally, I might pull down the glaring bright lights.
Mm-hmm.
It would be too distracting. I might pull those down, and I might bring up the amount of light in the shadows so that they're not just murky and muddy. And I'll
Right.
balance those two things.
Right.
I might add a little bit of sharpening for this, and I might use a little bit of color saturation, a little
Mm.
bit. But to tell the truth, this is pretty much, if you were there, this is pretty much what you would see with your eyes.
Mm. So what do you set your there's ISO and shutter speed and all that kind of stuff, and you need to play around with that to make sure you get everything right to take these pictures.
Mm-hmm.
And uh, I'm a novice. I don't know as much, but do you need a fairly slow shutter speed on this then? And that's what you
Um,
set for your timing of exposure?
well, even though this is at night, there's tons of artificial light.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't, and you can see the people are pretty clear. There's no blur.
Right.
So this must have been down around a 50th of a second or something, reasonably fast.
Mm-hmm.
And there's enough light so that, I didn't have to leave the shutter open for very long.
Wow.
Uh, the thing with mirrorless cameras is that when you're looking at the screen, when you're looking, uh, that's what the photograph is going to be. So they've made it a lot easier now, and with automatic light exposure and stuff, and, uh, it's not too difficult to get shots with a little bit of practice.
Okay. Um, all right. I'm going to go through a few more pictures and then show the ones we started with. We've been at it. We've been over an hour already, and
I'm not tired.
yeah, you just got up.
Yeah, I just got up,
This
and
is
it's
what.
not like I have a gig tonight or anything to go to.
Right. This is what I thought was funny when I said, okay, well, let's do it Thursday night or Wednesday night. I said Thursday night. You go, oh, well, that would be Friday morning for me. And it took me a minute. No, it's Thursday. Then I had to remember, no, it's Friday morning for you.
Right.
Right. Okay. So there's a couple of doorways that I'm going to show up here next. And hopefully you'll one is it's got a couple of red uh, banners hanging in the door. It's just a simple doorway, a gray, looks like maybe a steel doorway with two red banners, and at some point it'll show up there. And I'm going to do something clever here and put two pictures up and make this. Okay, so I don't know about you, but I actually have a fascination for doorways and windows. So back when
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to do my photography, I had this thing about being able to see my reflection in a window and then through to the other side. So there would be these layers of things. So I like to take a lot of those kinds of pictures. And then I liked pictures of doorways. And
Mm-hmm.
I pulled out two of them that you took, and I like them. So hopefully you will have an explanation for them by the time they show up. One is the silver or the gray sort of steel door with it looks like a cement around it and two red banners, and then the other looks like a lime. Are you seeing them there?
I'm seeing that one with the red
Okay,
banners.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Well, and what?
Okay. Okay, I got them both now.
Okay,
Um, both of these shots were in Shanghai,
okay.
and the one with the arch and the yellow glass, that's the doorway to the Peace Hotel,
Oh,
a hotel that's been famous hotel that's been in Shanghai since the 1920s.
mm-hmm.
Uh, Shanghai has, I think, the most Art Deco structures of any city in the world. Maybe Miami is number one and Shanghai is number two. But anyway, this is lots of Art Deco to be seen around Shanghai. And the one on the other side with the bricks around it and the red banners, that's very traditional Shanghai style. It's
Mm.
called the hutongs or the shikaman style. I used to, when I had a 6 night a week gig in Shanghai, well, I was there for a couple of years, and I used to just ride my bike all day long. I explored every block of the city that had
Mm,
buildings like this. Uh, had a fantastic time there.
okay, so um, yes, Elizabeth Bob lives in Hong Kong right now. And I bet Bob can take the best pictures of places like Alcatraz. No, so for those of you that are tuning in that don't know Bob, Bob and I met in San Francisco. We were both musicians in San Francisco. And did you grow up in San Francisco?
I grew up in Hartford, Connecticut.
Oh, okay. And then you went to San Francisco where we met. And how long were you in San Francisco?
Oh, I was, I think, 25 years in San Francisco.
Wow. Okay. And now
Yeah.
you've been in it. Then you went to China from the last time we were on. You went uh, to Asia for like Bangkok for a few years or something. Then you came back. Then you went back.
Yeah. I moved to Asia in the year 2000 or 2001, and I spent a lot of time in Bangkok and Shanghai. Um, then I had a chance to move back to New York, which I did, and I moved to New York for about 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Decided that was not where I wanted to be. I wanted to be in Asia, so I moved back and I settled in Hong Kong.
So, and you've been in Hong Kong since 2008. Is that right?
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, and
And
I travel frequently to Bangkok. I have a condominium in Bangkok, and eventually I'll move there, but not right now.
okay, so there is it. Somebody asked if you do black and white, and I pulled up this nighttime scene and put it next to you. It's a nighttime scene of some buildings, and I think it might be in color, but because of the lighting, it looks like it's black and white, and there's a lot of fog and everything around the buildings. So I pulled that up, um, and yeah, it looks like it's just a nighttime picture. Unless you did something special, it looks black and white. Like all the lights are white, and the city's in fog. And
Okay, yeah. This is Hong Kong. This picture was taken from the peak. You can take a tram up to the peak, and this is a major tourist destination. And on that night, there was a bunch of fog around the buildings. You're looking down at Victoria Harbor that separates uh, Hong Kong Island from Kowloon in the distance. And yeah,
so,
Hong Kong has the largest number of skyscrapers of any city in the world.
wow. Um, Elizabeth wants to know why there's so much Art Deco. Do you know?
Um, well, it all came from the time in the 1920s and 30s. That was the architectural style of the world. Miami, New York, everywhere, Los Angeles. Art Deco was uh, the art form for buildings. And at that time, Shanghai was China's door to the world. There was a
Mm.
huge French section, German section, an American section, an English section, and they all left behind their architecture. And Shanghai has a fantastic architectural heritage because of that.
Okay, so um, what time is it? It is 9:20. I actually am going to have to end because I have uh, a appointment with my daughter to do ear training at 9:30 every night. We have to do ear training, and you know all about the stuff where with choir she has to learn to. I have to play a chord and she has to hear the middle note, and she has to learn to sight sing. So I have to do that with her tonight. But
Mhm.
but we're having fun, and we're going to end up with an hour and 30-minute show, if that's okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
that's great.
Um,
And are people able to view this later on?
oh,
Can they find
absolutely.
the picture?
Yeah, absolutely. I leave it on my webs on on Facebook, so you can share it if you want. You can find it, and I also download it and put it on YouTube. Right, so you can go to Jeff Noose YouTube page, and it'll be there too. And your website for your photos has been up the entire time. So if somebody wants to know, get in touch with you about these photos, they can. And that means
And
it's
I should also mention that I'm on Instagram, and anybody can
yeah,
go
right.
look at my there.
Instagram. You can find Bob Mocarsky at Instagram. Is it just Bob Mocarsky?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm good in case, because Elizabeth has been tuning in and saying a lot. I wasn't really paying attention to all of the comments because there's like 75 comments now.
Mhm.
So I'm going to kind of scroll through some of these pictures that she may have missed and that we already talked about a little bit, and consider taking photos. Would you consider taking photos in Los Angeles, Little Shanghai? Well, if you come back to Los Angeles from Hong Kong, maybe would you come back and take photos for people?
Sure, absolutely. I would love to. I didn't know there was a little Shanghai in Los Angeles.
Yeah,
I know
me.
there's Koreatown and there's Little Saigon, um, and the Chinatown. Um, yeah, I haven't been in LA for quite a while, but
Hmm.
sure.
So
Heck, I've got friends in LA I haven't even used yet.
when you've got me, I used to have a spare bedroom until I made this thing, until I made my little studio. And oh, this is one photo that we didn't talk about, and it's a picture of some people holding balloons in the middle of the street, like they're selling balloons to cars passing by.
Mhm.
And I've just been kind of scrolling through the pictures here, and then so those people that are still watching can see some of the ones we showed. And I'm going to go back to the first three. The very first picture was these three pictures. The first two pictures are in Hanoi again.
Right, right.
So, and they're from what you said, the center of Hanoi.
Hmm.
Okay. And then also the little market, though that is close to your home, though, the little market or the little
Right.
cafe. Okay. So if anybody wants
I
to,
can, I can tell you something about that
yeah,
cafe.
yeah,
The, over the years, so many tourists come by and want to take pictures of people, and people are eating. Uh, that the owners finally put up blank pieces of plywood over the pictures in the background so that people wouldn't be bothered by, so that people could eat without being bothered by people taking pictures of them.
that's
That's
fun.
happened over the last year.
That's funny. That's funny. So Elizabeth likes the balloons. I like the balloons too. Um, so I'm going to go back to the two of us and close out the show just talking a little bit about. So we went through. This is only a fraction of the pictures that
It is.
you have, and I see you made some prints. How many different of those little? What did you do to those prints that you made, and how do you had? What'd you do to those? Did you?
Um, these are very, very inexpensive. These are
Mm-hmm,
just uh, prints on A4 paper,
mm-hmm,
and I have them laminated.
mm-hmm.
And it's very cheap, and they come out looking pretty good that way. I've got hundreds and if I wanted to make photographs of each of those, it would cost a fortune. But
Right.
this is a really cheap alternative.
And would that be easy to ship and sell?
Yeah, although I'm not sure just how well. the colors on these hold up. They're not photographic. They're not
Oh,
archival inks.
yeah.
Maybe they look good for 5 years and then they start to dull. I don't know at this
Mm,
point.
yeah.
So if I was going to sell anything, it would be photographic paper.
Right. You do it up right. So, for everybody that wants to see all of your photos, and do you have all your photos up on your website, or are there more that you haven't put there?
I haven't updated my website in about 2.5 years.
Oh, so you've got a bunch of stuff you can put there.
I've got a lot of stuff, and we haven't even touched on my black and white stuff,
Okay,
which
well,
is a
that's
whole
what's
other
okay. So
area.
that's what somebody said. What about do you do black and white?
I certainly do, and that's a whole other ballgame. Yeah,
And do you have black and white photos on your website?
I have quite a few black and white on my Instagram.
Oh, okay. So go to Bob's Instagram to look at the black and white photos.
Yeah, and that's where I get into candid pictures that I take of people. Black and white is really good for that.
Yeah, yeah. So Elizabeth and Toby, check out Bob's Instagram and tell him that you saw him on my show. So he goes, "Oh, okay." So then he'll remember. Um, yeah, I'm trying to read all the comments here. Elizabeth says, "I would like to purchase several." So this is what I would recommend then, Elizabeth, to reach out. She can reach out to you through your Instagram.
Yeah, or she can send me an email through my website.
Yeah.
Um,
So at Elizabeth at bobmophotos.com, that website, go there and you can get his email address from there.
mhm.
And, reach out to him however you want. And that's the whole reason why we're doing this.
Yeah, it's probably just as easy to talk on the phone these days with FaceTime or Messenger, stuff like that, and that's actually better. You can get down to
Right. Well,
really get to the nice things.
this is what people may not know is we right now we're calling through Facebook Messenger, right? Because my
Mhm.
platform that I use, Switcher Studio, doesn't you weren't able to get it to work there. So what I did is I called you on Facebook Messenger and then put you up full screen on one of my screens, and then I'm drug that into my platform, so it looks like we're actually using something other than Facebook Messenger.
Uh-huh.
And this is free. It's a free call. You
Right.
remember when we used to call and it would cost like $50 to call across the country for 10 minutes?
Oh God, yeah, yeah. Oh, Grandma's on the phone. Uh, make it quick. We're talking to Indiana.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah,
so your Instagram, is it Bob Mofo? No, I think your Instagram account is Bob Mocarsky.
I believe so.
Okay, so
Um,
Elizabeth,
and or you could get in touch with me on Facebook Messenger.
sure. And
Uh,
when I close the show, though, usually what I do is I'll go and reply to people that have commented, and I'll make sure she gets your information. I'll put it in there so she can get that.
okay,
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, Facebook Messenger is a good start. We can
And
go from there.
so Rich Tortorigi.
Rich Tortorigi. Yes.
Okay, so I got close. So he's been watching and he wants to say hello. Bob, your
Hi,
old
Rich.
drummer from Charisma days.
We had a band in the 70s in Connecticut. We made a couple of albums, actually pretty good albums. And he was the drummer. And
Wow.
I haven't seen him since the 70s, actually, in person. So, yeah, hi, Rich.
So I didn't want to take a stab at his name earlier, but as I sat and looked at it, he must be Italian.
I think so.
Tortorigi, Torto,
Tortorigi.
Tortorigi.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so thank you, Rich and Elizabeth and Toby, for tuning in and making this really fun. I actually, it's 9:30. I have to go run and do my. I'm trying to remember all of the music that I've forgotten because we're doing theory too. So, tonight we're on the key of D, and she has to be able to. I draw a note on the grand staff, and she has to sing it without me playing a note for her. Whoo.
Good luck with that.
Yeah. Well, she's actually starting. We've been doing it for a while because she's got auditions and stuff coming up, so we really have to crank it, and we do it every night. So, Bob, this has been terrific. This was, I love you as a musician, but this was really fun. And, hearing the stories and looking at the pictures, and it was fun. And, people followed and, asked all the questions. You can look at it on my Facebook page and read all the comments, and, and it'll stay there forever. You can share it if you want. And hopefully all of these people, Elizabeth is talking to Rich. He goes, Italian to make great lovers. Italians make great lovers. Well, I'm not Italian, so I'm kind of lacking in that. All right. So anyway, thanks, Bob. I really had a good time, and we'll come back and do it again with black and white photos because I think we'll have people interested in it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, this was fantastic.
Yeah,
fantastic fun.
This
is kind of the fruition of why I do all of this. I want to communicate.
Yeah,
and I have a lot to communicate.
Yes, you do. And Elizabeth said this was fun. Toby had a good time. Rich had a good time, and I know there were other people tuning in. There's been 7-8 people watching consistently, and some people moving in and out. But this was good. It's fun, and I learned a lot about the culture over there too, and that the stories that you tell with your pictures help me understand more what it's like over there. And Vietnam isn't like bad people. Like I grew up thinking that Vietnam was bad people, and it's just not that way.
It's not that way. And you're going to hear more and more this year about how bad the Chinese people are. And I will tell you right now, that's a load of hooey as well.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The governments can slug it out as they like, but people are people, and they're beautiful people.
Yeah. We're all actually probably kind of getting along and just letting the government pretend like there's arguments. Yeah,
they make up these fantastic cartoons for us.
Yeah.
It's just we don't have to accept them.
Right. Okay, so those of you that, again, I'm going to bobmophotos.com, Instagram, Bob Mocarsky. I'll let you all know that. And Bob is an amazing keyboard player, even though we didn't talk about keyboards tonight. We talked about keyboards last time. So tonight was photos, and you are more than just somebody who's shooting pictures. You're way more than that. Okay, so I'm going to close out the show because I got to go.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, Bob. I appreciate it, and have a great day, and we'll be talking again soon for the next one.
Okay. Great.
All right.
Thanks a lot, Jeff. This was fantastic.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Bye.
All right. Okay. See ya.